G'day folks, Scott here. Today I'm reviewing the HW-Q950T Soundbar. This is Samsung's latest soundbar. It launched in Australia on the 23rd of July this year, which I believe is one of the earlier regions in the world. I picked up mine a week ago today and decided to give you my thoughts on it based after a week of usage. So this is a 9.1.4 sound system, which was a upgrade from Samsung's previous model, which was 7.1.4. The new additions are these two angular speakers here, which are called wide, which I think are supposed to represent the speaker in the middle of the room. So you've got your side speaker, middle speaker, and rear speaker. So obviously with soundbars, and especially with these models, it's all about them saying its ability to bounce sound off walls and bounce back at you to give you sound from all directions, and for the most part it does a pretty good job of that. So I'll go through some cons first and then move on. So I guess researching this before I bought it, people's talking about the previous models, there was a lot of talk about the rear two speakers and dropouts. Thankfully, I haven't experienced anything like that yet. I saw particularly with people who were streaming like Atmos content or even just surround content off streaming services. I'd seen videos of the previous model where those speakers were crackling in and out and dropping in and out and all kinds of weird behavior, and I haven't experienced any of that. The only thing I've had happen to this only on one morning was when I turned the system back on after it being off at night. One of the rear speakers and the sub were not powered up at all. Ordinarily there's a red light on the back of the speaker or sub when it's off, and when it's on and connected to the soundbar they go blue. Both of those circumstances there was nothing at all, and I actually had to disconnect from the power socket and plug them back in again. But that only happened once, and I've used it every single day since, and it hasn't happened again, so I don't know. Perhaps it's updated itself. Through the Samsung Smart Things app, I have it set to auto update. Because I saw the previous models, I don't know if the previous one is connected to Wi-Fi or not, but there was a lot of talk about you having to go to the Samsung website and download an update file, put it on a USB stick, flip this thing over and put the stick in that way, which sounds like a massive pain in the ass. But through that Samsung app, this was like, you know, upgraded. I selected to upgrade it as soon as I got it. It said it already had the latest firmware, so we'll see how we go. The only other con I've had would be, it's not a big deal, but it's not that bassy, or not as bassy as I thought it perhaps would be. My previous Bose system had so much bass, I always had the woofer like at half or less because it just rumbled everything. Whereas this, I've got the woofer turned up to full, plus I have the bass in the EQ turned up to full, and it's fine, but there's nowhere to go up from there. So I was like, you know, perhaps that's something they can address in an update, if such a thing can be addressed in an update. I think it comes down to the content as to the quality of the mix, as to how good this performs. As far as the Atmos, the 4 speakers that shoot at the roof, I feel maybe that was a little overhyped by marketing and some other reviewers and stuff. It definitely gives a sense of height to the sound, but it doesn't sound like anything's crashing down at me from above the way it was sort of implied. But, you know, I've been tweaking it over the last week because all the channels for the volume you have to adjust yourself through the device, which has been a bit of stuffing around. It would have been nice, you know, even seeing they've got the Samsung app, to perhaps use a microphone on your phone to have it calibrate itself based on your seating position in the room and have it listen to all the speakers and do it for you. Would have been cool, but whatever. I think I've got it. If you guys have the previous Samsung Atmos models, or any of you pick this up and you have ideal settings, I'll do a photo of my room after. Please comment on this. Your settings on this, I appreciate anything because this is a new concept to me, so your advice would be greatly appreciated. The rear speakers, I remember hearing complaints to the previous ones apart from the dropouts that people were complaining that they weren't loud enough and you couldn't hear them. When I first got it and I was tweaking these volumes, I actually, based on what people had said with the previous models, I cranked the volume on the 2 speakers in the 2 rears to full, and I found that through some content they were actually drowning out the front of the system. I ended up having to readjust and bring them down. So I've found to have the Atmos speakers at the highest level, followed by the center channel, and then everything else sort of to even it out. A real standout has been Dark Knight. The underpass chase was really incredible. The bass from the gunshots and explosions was really good. The spatial awareness and the sound and everything was great. Even the rubber on the road of Batman's bike, that rumble through the bass and stuff, that was really impressive. So I know this can do good bass. I was just really surprised I had to have everything up full to get bass out of it. On a side note, actually, this CX TV I got, the LG, is only 40mm high from the base to the bottom of the screen. This soundbar is 69.5mm high, which is actually nearly 15mm shorter than the previous models, I believe. I think, please correct me if I'm wrong, I think they were 85mm high, so this is 69.5. But it still would have poked over the top of my screen had I not have done anything about it. So I ended up having to get 2 bits of wood cut to prop the TV up 40mm, so that with the soundbar sitting in front of it, I've still got clearance, and I've still got clearance to the remote for the television to be able to actually get there. So just factored that in when you're looking into this. 70mm, like I said, it's shorter than the previous years, but it could be an issue for you, and if you don't have that space, you should consider that now. Also, I think it's 140mm deep, so your cabinet, it takes up a fair chunk of space on there between height and depth, so be aware of that, because you wouldn't want to go and pull the pin on this and get it home and find out that you couldn't fit it, or you had to find some way to wall mount it behind your TV or something. So that's just a side note. Apart from that, I really don't have much else to say. I'm really happy with it. I hope they can maybe address the bass. I don't think I should have it on full, like I said. I haven't had any problems with the speakers dropping out, which is great. So overall, I really enjoy it. And yeah, like I said, I did this review just simply because I didn't see any reviews for it when I was wanting to buy it, and hopefully this can help you make that decision. Check out my other reviews on the channel. Please subscribe if you enjoy the stuff, and thank you again for watching.